Today I've got Something in the Walls by Daisy Pearce. A book that promised creepy village folklore, psychological suspense, and the kind of slow burn dread I live for. But this one missed the mark for me. Let's talk about why. The story follows Mina, a newly minted child psychologist who's just kind of floating along in life, pretty apathetic, not looking forward to her upcoming marriage, until a journalist gives her the opportunity to go interview a 13-year-old girl in a small town. The girl's name is Alice, and she claims to be haunted by a witch. Alice lives in a remote village, steeped in superstition and small town secrecy. The setup is good. An eerie setting, unreliable adults, a child with escalating symptoms, and a whole town that doesn't want outsiders poking around. Mina takes the job. She needs the money, she needs the experience, and maybe the distraction. And what unfolds? Well, that's the problem. On paper, this checks all the boxes for me. Grief, isolation, witchy folk horror in a crumbling village, themes of belief versus silence, outsider versus community. But in execution, it never landed for me. I listened to the audiobook, which I usually like to do, at least in part, along with reading for creepy books. This time I really felt myself zoning out a lot. I couldn't focus. I tried to do the physical read, couldn't focus. It was the pacing. The story just drags. I was waiting for something to happen for like 80 or 90% of the book. I kept going for some reason though, waiting, only to be hit at the end with a flurry of action that didn't seem to fully make sense with the rest of the story. It was like it's from a different draft of the manuscript. Mina as a character could have really told this story through a very compelling lens. She's professionally trained in psychology, personally a mess. She's still grieving her brother and quietly questioning her own choices. That tension could have been explored to add more internal stakes alongside the external haunting. Instead, Mina remains such a flat character. She observes, she doubts, she reflects, but very little changes within her. She feels like more of a placeholder than a protagonist. So it feels like the whole thing was undercooked. And the village itself could have been a gothic character in its own right, but it doesn't quite come alive on the page. We hear about its history and suspicious residents, the whispered beliefs, but we never feel them. It's like hearing a ghost story secondhand and poorly told. It doesn't give you a chill like it would have if you experienced it yourself. Overall, I gave Something in the Walls 2 stars. Not terrible completely, but very forgettable. It's haunting me for all the wrong reasons. If you've read this, I'd love to know your thoughts, especially if it hit differently for you. Maybe I missed something cool along the way. And if you have any additional horror stories for me to read, comment them. It's about to be spooky season. I want to freak myself out.